I'm just going to talk to you this time about one of the aspects of my work as a medium that isn't hugely known about, but something that I am incredibly proud of doing and feel very honoured to do. Every now and then I will get a call from someone, and I don't know these people at all, and they will ask me if I would be prepared to sit with someone who's dying. Now, over the years I've done this many times because the person who is passing away, or very soon to pass away, has asked to see someone who's a medium. Now, on one occasion, a gentleman had asked his family to please get someone to come up who was a medium. And I was wrong and asked if I would do this. And I said, of course I will. And I went straight away. Now, when I walked into the gentleman's room, I could clearly see a lady stood at the end of his bed. Crystal clear to me, every aspect of her hair, clothing, everything. And she grinned at me, and she told me that she was his mum. So I said, okay, I'll get to you in a minute. First of all, I need to introduce myself to the gentleman in the bed. I went to the head of the bed and I introduced myself. And he was a lovely man, as they all are. And he said to me, so, can you see anyone in my room? And I'm going to call him Harry for this story. And I said, yes, Harry, your mum is stood at the end of your bed and she's holding a glass of whiskey. And she's saying, come on, Harry, you're holding up the party. And he laughed and he said, I've been seeing my mum in my room for 2 days and she always had a glass of whiskey. I needed you to come and tell me it was real and not the drugs. He said, can you ask her when she's going to take me? So I asked her, and she said 6 o'clock the following morning. And he said, you tell her I'm ready. That gentleman passed away very peacefully at 6 a.m. the following morning. The next person I was asked to see was also a gentleman who was past the point of being able to communicate. And he was laid in his bed, extremely ill. And I was sat one side of the bed, and his daughter, who had asked me to come up, was sat the other side of the bed near the door. And we're just talking, and in through the door came a gentleman with a really large tummy, and he really made an effort to point that out to me, that he would be known by the size of his tummy. It was huge. And he came in and he walked up to the head of the bed. And this lady said to me, has somebody just come in? And I said, yes. He tells me that he's your dad's brother, he's your uncle, and that he passed with a massive heart attack. And he keeps emphasising the size of his tummy, that you would know him from this. And she said, oh my God, I absolutely do. And he did die of a heart attack. I said, okay, he's the first one in. And then in behind him came a boy who was 8 years old. And he pointed to the man in the bed and he said, he's my brother too. So I spoke to the lady who was called Karen, and I said, did your dad have a brother who died when he was 8? He's telling me that he drowned. And she was absolutely floored. And she said, my God, yes, he did. The boy told me where he drowned. I said this to her and she verified that to be true. I said, okay, he's coming as 8 because your dad will remember him as 8. In he comes. The next man to come in only had one leg. he was at pains to point out to me that he had a false leg. And he told me that he was his friend, and they met at the post office once a week to get their pensions. They would sit on the wall and have a fag, have a chow, and then go about their day. Now, Karen, God love her, at this point nearly fell off the seat because she said he died a fortnight ago. And she says, Dad doesn't even know that he's passed. He was next in. I said, the last one in is going to be your mum. That's who he's waiting for. Sure enough, the last person in, who stood at the bottom of the bed, opposite her husband, was his wife, Karen's mum. And the first thing she said to me was, and you can tell him I know he's changed the will. And I said this to Karen, and she said, oh my God, yeah, he has changed the will. I said, well, she's happy about it. She agrees with the change. And she, oh, that's a relief. Because she wouldn't want her dad to go and be told off straight after he passed away. Now, each time, in between all these people coming in, I'm relaying to her dad, because I'm fully aware he can hear everything. I'm relaying to him that he is seeing these people. These people are real, and they are people who love him who have come into the room. And each time I mentioned one, just a tear would run down out of the corner of his eye into the pillow. And he was very calm. He wasn't distressed in any way. And it was, I think he was just pleased because it was confirmation. So when the mum came in, she said everything she wanted to say, and she had a message for her daughter, and was wanting to thank her for everything she'd done, and her sister and other family members. And Karen said to me, can you ask her when they're going to take him? And this was, if I remember rightly, it was late, something like 6:30 or something, the next afternoon. So there was like almost 24 hours. And she said, okay, that's fantastic, thank you so much. Now that gave her time to get all the rest of the family up to the hospital to see him before he passed away. And she said that to us afterwards was invaluable. And he passed away very peacefully, surrounded by everybody that he loved, at exactly the time his wife had said. Now that's just 2 of the people that I've ever sat with out of hundreds of people. But I can tell you, from this 40 years experience, that when anybody you love passes from this world, and when you too pass from this world, someone you love very much will come to collect you. In whatever situation you are in, wherever you are in the world, someone you love will come for you. Absolutely guaranteed. So you can stop beating yourself up that your dad passed away when you went to get a cup of coffee after you'd been sat there for 8 hours, because he wasn't on his own at all. Nobody ever passes from this life alone. I'll leave that with you. Thank you for listening.